Hey, hello everyone. I'm back again. So, without any delay, let's begin with today's lecture. So, today we'll be talking about canons of taxation. So, first let's find out what actually canons of taxation are. First, we need to understand the meaning of canons of taxation. By canons of taxation, it means the principle, the laws which are advised to be followed by every tax system in order to make it simpler and easier for the citizens to make the payment to the government. Because as we all know, tax is a compulsory payment which is required to be paid by every citizen without giving it a second thought. So let's understand the meaning of canon of taxation. A good tax system should adhere to certain principles which become its characteristics. A good tax system is therefore based on some principles. The principles that we are talking about are canons of taxation. Adam Smith has formulated four important principles of taxation that we'll be seeing in the latter part of the video. A few more have been suggested by various other economists. These principles, which a good tax system should follow, are called canons of tax system. So basically, it has stated that these are the principles which are required to be followed by an economy in order to make the tax system a good tax system. Whereas Adam Smith have given four canons and the remaining seven are given by other economists. So let's find out what are those canons of taxation. So let's begin with the ones given by Adam Smith. These are canon of equity, which is also known as canon of equality, then canon of certainty, canon of convenience, and canon of economy. These are the four given by Adam Smith. The others include canon of elasticity, productivity, variety, simplicity, diversity, uniformity, and coordination. So these are some of the canons which are given by Adam Smith and other economists. So we'll be discussing each one of them individually. So let's begin with the first one, which is known as canon of equality, canon of equity, and even canon of ability. So what does it says? According to this canon, it says that every person should pay the tax according to their ability. By equality, don't get confused that everyone is required to pay the equal amount of taxation. It doesn't state that. It simply says that a person should pay the tax according to the capacity that they are having. For example, if a person who is earning more is in a better position to pay more taxes than the person who is earning less. If you remember the tax system, the types of taxes that we have discussed, if you remember the progressive tax system, this is basically highlighting the progressive taxation only. That if an individual or a person is earning more, they should pay more. And if the person is earning less, they have to pay less. Then only the equality can be maintained. So let's see what does it says. Canon of equality or ability is considered to be a very important canon of taxation. By equality, we do not mean that people should pay equal amount by way of taxes to the government. That's what I told you. By equality is meant equality of sacrifice. That is, people should pay taxes in proportion to their income. So this is actually canon of equality. Next one, certainty. Canon of certainty states that there should be a definite or a certain amount which a taxpayer should know that he has to pay this much of amount so that he can maintain his balances accordingly. He can spend the amount in that manner that if he knows he has to pay this much of amount as a tax. So there should be a certainty. So it says the canon of certainty implies that there should be certainty with regard to the amount which taxpayer is called upon to pay during the financial year. If the taxpayer is definite and certain about the amount of the tax and its time of payment, he can adjust his income to his expenditure. So he can adjust his income accordingly. He's well versed with the fact that he has to pay this much of amount. Next canon is canon of convenience. It says that the tax system should be simple and easier and should be at the disposal of the taxpayer that they can pay the taxes conveniently. It means that the tax should be levied at the time and the manner which is more convenient for the contributor to pay it. For example, if the tax on agricultural land is collected in installment after the crop is harvested, it will be very convenient for the agriculturalist to pay it. So it says that it should be according to the convenience of the taxpayer, though everyone is known to this fact that it is a mandatory and a compulsion to pay the tax, and everyone is willing to pay. So if it is according to the convenience of the taxpayer, it would be of great help to the taxpayers. The next canon, which is given by Adam Smith, is canon of economy. It says the canon of economy implies that the expenses of collection of taxes should not be excessive. They should be kept as little as possible, consistent with administration efficiency. It says that the amount spent on the collection of taxes should be minimal. Then only that level can be maintained, that balance can be maintained. Suppose if the government is collecting revenue from the public in the form of taxes, and on the other hand it is investing or it is spending huge amount on the related activities of the tax collection, so it will be of no use. So it is required that government should maintain a balance and try to keep the waste, not the waste, but try to maintain the efficiency, the minimal level of spending on the collection methods. So these are the four canons which are given by Adam Smith. Now let's see the remaining one. These are the canons. Now the ones we are going to study, these are the ones which are given by other economists. So starting with the first one, canon of productivity. By canon of productivity, it says that the amount which is collected by the government should provide some productive yield to the government. Productive yield, by productive yield, it means that government should utilize that amount in some way so that it can be beneficial for the economy. Suppose the amount is collected from the people and it is spent in paying out the debts only, so it's not a productive purpose. So it has to be a productive reason behind its collection. The canon of productivity indicates that a tax, when levied, should produce sufficient revenue to the government. If a few taxes imposed yield a sufficient fund for the state, then they should be preferred over a large number of small taxes which produce less revenue and are expensive in collection. It says that if a small amount of taxes are more beneficial or more productive to the government rather than the huge amount, so what will happen? Government will prefer the ones which are more productive, irrespective of the fact whether it is in a small number or large number. Now next, canon of elasticity. Canon of elasticity states that the tax system should be fairly elastic, so that if at any point the government is in need of more funds, it should increase its financial resources without incurring any additional cost of collection, income tax, railway fares, postal taxes, etc. These are just some of the examples. By canon of elasticity, it says that the government should have this option. This elasticity should be there in the tax system so that if required, it can accordingly increase the amount of taxes. And how it can do? By increasing the rail fares, bus fares, postal rates. So there should be a level for the increment. There should be a chance that in case if required, that government can increase the rates of the taxes. So this is canon of elasticity. Next comes canon of simplicity. By simplicity, it means canon of simplicity implies that the tax system should be fairly simple and plain for the taxpayer. If it is complicated and difficult to understand, then it will lead to oppression and corruption. What happens if a tax system, if a payment of tax is simple to be understood by a common man? It would be easier for them to pay the taxes. Otherwise, what will happen? If they'll consult any other person, they may mislead them. They may charge heavy amounts for their consultation or so. So it is advisable that the payment of taxes or the tax system should be simple and easier so that even a common man can easily understand it. Next is canon of diversity. Canon of diversity says that the system of taxation should include a large number of taxes which are economical. The government should collect revenue from its citizen by imposing direct and indirect taxes. As we have already discussed in the previous lecture that there are various types of taxes and direct and indirect is one of them. So what happens? There are a number of taxes. We have seen GST, ad valorem, VAT, mod VAT. So these are the types of taxes which are imposed by the government in order to collect the revenue from the people. And as we all know, that revenue that is collected from the people is utilized for the development of the nation only. Next comes canon of uniformity. Canon of uniformity refers to uniformity in imposition of tax, assessment of tax, and realization of tax. By this canon, it states that there should be a same level, a uniformity in calculation, assessment, and realization of tax so that people will not be in a chaos, will not be disturbed, will not be perplexed to figure out what level they have to pay the tax, at what amount they have to pay the tax. So, all these problems will be rectified if there should be a uniformity in the tax system. Next comes canon of variety. This canon states that a single tax can be easily evaded by a person. Therefore, there must be variety of taxes on people and commodities. This means that if there is a single tax, so that people may find ways to evade it. Because if you are known to this fact that this is the only tax that you have to pay, so throughout the year you will find ways and tricks to evade it. Not everyone, but there are some people. So it is advisable that there should be number of taxes that should be imposed so that it would be difficult for the people to evade any type of tax, because we know tax evasion is an illegal act, because it is a compulsory payment which is required to be made by every individual living in a country. So this is what this canon says. Now, next one, this is the last one, canon of coordination. It states that tax authorities must be well coordinated. Tax authorities must be well coordinated. By this, it means that there should be a synchronization between the central and the state, so that in case if a commodity or a thing have been taxed by the central, it should not be taxed by the state. So there will be a coordination between the two. Then only it will run in a smooth and a proper manner. So these are some of the canons which a tax system should adopt in order to make it simple and easier for the people to pay the taxes, and even for the government to receive the revenue in the easiest and the shortest span of time. I hope this video and this lecture has cleared all your concepts about canons of taxation. So please go through the video, hear it again. In case if you have any doubt, do let me know. I'll clear out all your doubts. So that's all for the day. Keep studying, keep smiling, keep learning, and keep growing. That's all from my side. Stay safe, stay